Interesting. Oh, well, there you have it. Greetings, everyone. We are live, a Better Official Live, coming to you from the home studio. How about we do this? Gives me a starting point. Oh, the tech team is snoozing in the corner, and we are off and running a Better Official Live. Today it's Basketball Rules Expert, where we look at plays and so we can adjudicate them properly by rule. It's great to see everybody in the house today. It sounds like the season has reached that point. You know, it's obviously going to be different in different parts of the country, but we are in a situation where league playoffs may be starting, ending, etc. We are on the cusp of more important playoff games where all of our experience comes into play as we adjudicate plays, get plays right, and obviously, at key moments of the game, don't get plays wrong and make a mistake there. So we are poised for the playoffs here in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area. And it's good to see Darwin Sonata in the house. Michigan representing. Hey, Ray, in the beautiful San Francisco Bay Area, we are looking to regain our mobility. Martin Tim says Indiana just finished girls sectional play. And boys rest of the way. Yeah, here in California, everything goes at the same pace, boys and girls, I guess in some parts of the country. And that may be a way, if they staggered things. So one of the things that's happened here in the Bay Area as a result of COVID in one of my associations is it used to be everybody played Tuesday and Friday. So what that meant is a number of officials available was limited since everybody played on those days of the week. But this year, a signer said, hey, you guys, you leagues, you have to start breaking that stuff up. We need games on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays as well, because otherwise we'll have a shortage of officials and we won't be able to handle. But as a result, right, a lot more opportunity here in the Bay Area to do three-person, right? Since we're not impacted on a Tuesday and Friday, we have more officials available. Hey, we can put three on that varsity game that needs three, etc. I know that concept of having two-person officiating for varsity games in some part of the country is like, what are you doing? I can't even imagine that, right? Because they have had adopted three-person for all varsity games or, games of a certain level, etc. But in some parts of the country, that is just not the case, either because of cost, the schools don't want to pay, or because of lack of officials, or because that's the way we've always done it, etc. All of these things are factors on in that decision making, but a lot more availability here in the Bay Area for three-person. If they staggered boys and girls, you could say, okay, we can have more officials available as well. But that's a thing. That's a thing. Rick Watson is in the house, a founding viewer of a Better Official live streams. Rick Watson, great to see you on the stream today, Rick. Always, always good. Billy Mack jumping in from that small little corner of Connecticut. The provision state, as I recall. Chuck from Maine says state playoffs begin next week and all teams are making the playoffs. Okay, yeah, so, there's all sorts of variations and, decisions being made about how to change things. Excellent. And it is that time of year, as Randy Wilson points out. Just a second. Girls regional start next week and boys the following week, and we are in it. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. So here in one of my associations, high school associations, Randy, we have a playoff meeting, right? Where, okay, now we're going to talk about officiating the playoffs. At this point of the season, you can't really prepare for the playoffs, in my mind. In my mind, preparing for the playoffs begin in preseason scrimmages, right? Bringing all of your skills, refining your skills, bringing them all to bear so that we approach the game as if this is the most important game. I mean, when we have a playoff game, it's really easy to say, hey, this is the most important game of the night. This is it. One of these teams is not going to continue playing. If we approach every game that way, or at least borrow that mindset and bring it to our game, right? Then we're going to work harder, apply our skills better, etc. And so having that playoff meeting and sort of talking about, okay, now we're going to start doing some things differently related to the playoffs, to me, falls a little short of the mark, right? We should begin with the end in mind, as somebody said. Yes, Rick, in your absence, nothing has changed. We still struggle with the tech. It is absolutely true. Alan Neese jumping in from Illinois, 36 degrees. We're probably in the low 40s here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Early morning, but we will be mid 60s, sunny and warm later today. G-Man's in the house, part of the G-Man contingent. I have been part of that contingent in my life. Excellent. Gary Slickman, Boston on board. Excellent. Good to see you, Gary. That's awesome. Go Red Sox. I used to be, my family moved to Arlington, Massachusetts in my youth. And I had never been a baseball fan up until that point. And it was 1967. And in the Boston area, the impossible dream, Carl Yastrzemski. I became a Red Sox fan at that point. But at some point, that has transitioned as the players left, and it was just rooting for the laundry. I lost the passion. But former Red Sox fan here. Phil Uhas in the house. Paul Connolly. Excellent. Great. Uh-oh. Boston stepping up. Stepping up. CJPW in the house. The Zooch jumping in. Dean Hodges with my favorite avatar. Billy Mack saying due to inactivity, officiating, referee count being down so low, triple headers. Triple headers are just brutal. They're just brutal. I mean, they cheat the kids from our best effort. You cannot have your best effort for 3 straight high school games, in my judgment. All right, so this freshman game, are we going to go all out? No, we're not. We got to save something for the varsity game. But that is a fact of life. Thank you, Gary, for the, I think, wasn't it Zig Ziglar? No? First? I don't know. Indeed. Boy, oh boy. Everything's tough. Joe, that's absolutely true. Absolutely. With NFHS Network as well, and the installation of cameras in gymnasiums that automatically, all they do is they say, hey, start recording and broadcasting at 7 p.m. or at 6:45 p.m. and go for 2 hours or go for 3 hours, right? Sometimes at the end of those recordings, you see the janitor, sweeping the floor for 45 minutes. But, that's how it should be. It should be that every single game you work is on video and it is available to you immediately, right? That would be the perfect scenario for basketball officials, because analyzing your game video is the number one way to rapid improvement as a basketball official. So we do get that, as you say, Joe, they get to see the review your calls, but also when we analyze our game video, of course, we are reviewing that placement on the court, the demeanor, the habits, the fundamentals, the reaction, the communication skills, the body language, all of the things as far as we want to refine it. Okay, excellent. Excellent, Gary. I appreciate that. And give me just a second. You know, this is what we do. All right, well, let's take a look at the rundown. Hey, that's me. Of course, every Wednesday, Basketball Rules Expert, we look at play scenarios so we have a firmer understanding of the rules of National Federation of High School Basketball Rules so that we can adjudicate properly. Now, obviously, as we approach the end of the season, playoff games, the highest implications for our judgment, especially at the end of the game. So having a solid rules knowledge and the ability to adjudicate plays by rule is what we want. If you're new to the stream, new to me, my name is Greg Austin with A Better Official. We craft video. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday so we can all get better as basketball officials. And if you have an opinion about a ruling on a play, a question, a play scenario, jump in the chat. We have a fantastic community of officials here in the live stream, getting better together, discussing plays and rules scenarios. If you have a moment, you can share the stream on one of the socials. Billy Mack will be, sharing it on his MySpace. For sure. For sure. Do. Pow. Yeah, so I wasn't even a baseball fan at that point. But everybody around me, it was just an explosion of energy at school and what have you. So I became a baseball fan pretty quick in 1967. Jim Lonborg, the ace of the staff. Memories. All right. So. All right, the season is coming to a conclusion. The games are more important. Getting plays right, especially in end-of-game situations, is critical. Today we're looking at 14 play scenarios, including some end-of-game scenarios. Stick around to the end of the video for those. Let's get started. Greetings and welcome back to another episode of the Basketball Rules Expert, the show where we take National Federation of High School basketball rules and lift them off of the printed page, breathing life into them, simplifying, clarifying, amplifying so that we can take those rules with us onto the basketball court. Greetings again, everybody. My name is Greg Austin with abetterofficial.com. I've been a high school basketball official here in the San Francisco Bay Area for over a decade. I consider myself knowledgeable about the rules of high school basketball, and this show is all about helping you on a journey to becoming a basketball rules expert as well. If you are a basketball official interested in basketball officiating content, now would be a great time to like, subscribe, and hit the notify bell so you don't miss out on any of our new content. Before we get started, allow me to thank our tremendous show supporters: Paul Figlia, Scott Calvin, Kevin Cochran, J.J. Jemison, and Ted Hayter. Much appreciated and much love. If you want to support the show, there's always an opportunity, a link in the show notes below. All right, today we are looking at play scenarios so that we can get better as basketball officials. discussing the ins and outs of the rule, refining our understanding so that we can adjudicate plays properly on the court. Let's get started with our very first play scenario. A1 is fouled by B1 during rebounding action. The players then go face to face and a double technical foul is called. The original foul by B1 was the 10th team foul on Team B. The officials report all fouls and then resume the game with 2 free throws by A1 with players filling marked lane spaces. Were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? So we have a foul. We're in bonus. We have a foul by B1 on A1, which would result in bonus free throws. And then the 2 players exchange pleasantries, or in this case, unpleasantries, to each other, and the officials assess technical fouls on each of the players, a double technical foul. How would we resume in this situation? Remembering that double always equals no free throws and point of interruption. Double technicals, double foul, double intentional, double flagrant. Double means no free throws, point of interruption. What is our point of interruption on this play, right? So we think this through on the court, right? We have this tension rising. We have, potentially other teammates coming in. We've got to calm this situation down, right? Energy is heightened, etc. But then how are we going to resume the game? And understanding that is always critical. In this instance, we have a double technical foul, so we would resume the game at the point of interruption. The point of interruption was a foul while the team was in bonus, resulting in 2 free throws for A1. Simple, straightforward. And so in this instance, right. So in this instance where the officials assessed and reported all of the fouls, both the original foul and the 2 technical fouls, and then resumed the game at the point of interruption, being the 2 bonus free throws for A1, in this instance, were those officials correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. That's a pretty straightforward question. Chris Janish joining in. Excellent. Oh, the Virginia contingent in the chat. Excellent. Excellent. We're always glad to have you, Rick. Really appreciate you jumping on. Mike Goodwin jumping in from the Chile confines. Yes. And with this adjudication on the court, our crew, somebody in the stands says, hey, this crew is going to the finals right here. Rudy in the house. Excellent. Rudy, that is a correct call. And yes, we do want the Alaska weather report. Point of interruption. John Skinner, what if the double technical results in 6 team fouls for A and 7 for Team B? The double technical will have no ramification. It's a double, meaning no free throws will be attempted related to the technical fouls. Let's say also that when the foul occurred by B1 on A1, there were only 6 team fouls on or there were only 5 team fouls on Team B. The foul was the 6th team foul, and then when both players got technical fouls, now we have 7 team fouls on that team. Do we shoot bonus free throws now because they have 7? No, it's at the time of the foul, but that's a great thing to think through. I remember before I started officiating, I was coaching a CYO game, and that same scenario came up where the technical foul was the seventh, um, and and I gave my young official a little grief. I said, "You're guessing. You're guessing. That should be bonus free throws." Typical coach behavior. Typical. My Goodwin making us all feel a little warmer. Oh, that's tremendous. Okay. I think we are off to a great start. Let me do this thing. All right, a great refresher on double technical fouls and how to adjudicate plays. Let's move on to our next play scenario. A double personal foul is ruled in the front court near the sideline while A1's try for goal is in flight. The try is successful. Team A has the possession arrow. The officials score the goal and report the double foul and award an alternating possession throw-in to Team A near the spot of the foul. Were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? So we have a try in flight here. A try is in flight and a double foul is ruled. The fouls are reported, the goal is scored, and the resumption of play is determined to be an alternating possession throw-in near the spot of the foul. So our crew in this instance did some things correctly. But a key component here is when the try is in flight and there is a double foul ruled, does the ball become dead? Does the double foul cause the ball to become dead? And if not, what then would be our point of interruption on this play? So we have a try in flight, two players engaged, but not letting go. A double foul is ruled. The ball does not become dead. The result of the try will count. And then what is then our point of interruption? Remember, double fouls equal point of interruption. What is the point of interruption after a scored goal? It would be a throw-in for the opponent with the non-designated spot throw-in, allowing them the opportunity to run the end line. That would be our point of interruption. Right? So in this instance, when the officials ruled our the resulting throw-in to be an alternating possession throw-in near the spot of the foul, were our officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. Right? This point of interruption on this play is a throw-in on the end line for the opponent on this play. My tech team. Partial credit. That's absolutely true. Partial credit. Yes. Those are so our key takeaways, as Thomas points out, is the ball does not become dead. And obviously understanding the status of the ball, understanding the status of the players, understanding of these things are just the fundamental building blocks of our ability to officiate plays properly. If we know that the ball has not become dead, things get a lot simpler. If we know that double foul, no free throws, point of interruption, right? And the ball didn't become dead, ball went in the basket, what's our point of interruption, etc. Easy peasy, we like it. So, let me see this. Things are just not working. But I can fix it in post. I like that. It's cute. All right, let's take a look now. All right, a second double foul play scenario. So we should really have a solid understanding. Let's move forward now and look at our next play scenario. From behind the three-point line, A1 sees A2 make a backdoor cut to the basket. A1 passes the ball towards the ring, and A2 leaps for the potential alley-oop dunk. The ball, however, enters and passes through the goal directly from A1's pass and is not touched by A2. The officials rule this to be a pass and therefore only a 2-point goal. Were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? It's clear, the player throws basically a chest pass for this alley-oop. Player goes up for the dunk. But the ball, instead, without the player touching it, passes through the basket. The officials say, well, that was not a try for goal. We are only going to score 2 points. Are the officials correct? Yes or no, right? This is misunderstood. I think it's different at different levels potentially, but any thrown ball from beyond the three-point arc in National Federation of High School Basketball rules that enters the basket directly is considered to be a three-point goal by rule. So in this instance, when the officials ruled this to only be a 2-point goal, were the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. This should be a 3-point goal by rule. Even if we understand that it was not a try for goal by rule, it is ruled as a 3-point goal. On the previous play, Ross says if the try was missed, then the alternating possession would be the point of interruption. Correct, because, of course, in that instance, there would be no team control. The ball would be dead. We need to resume the game, and that is correct. I should have mentioned that. Thanks, Ross. Slipping, Zooch, or are they just revealing? It is a 3-point goal. It's a little non-intuitive. We expect, disagreement may come into the game from the opposing coach. It's like, no way is that 3 points, etc. And yes, we are 1 for 2, but we are moving on because I got to do this thing. Billy wants to switch the play up. Same play, ball hits the defender, right? So there's some variations on this play, as Billy has pointed out, I believe, in the past, right? 3-point goal. Let's say the same play occurs where the thrower is throwing this pass, but their teammate is really close, and it actually caroms off the head of the teammate who's outside the 3-point arc, goes high in the air and into the basket. An amazing play that's going to make SportsCenter top 10 highlights. How many points for this? Same scenario, except maybe our defender inside the arc. The pass is thrown, they deflect the ball in an upward direction. It makes the same arc and goes in the basket. How many points? The ball was thrown from behind the 3-point arc, contacts the defender or contacts a teammate outside the 3-point arc. Same scenario, inside the 3-point arc. How would we deal with those? Correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's outside the 3-point arc and a defender contacts it, the ball does not affect that. If the teammate was outside, it would not affect that. Teammate was inside, it would affect that. Oh, that's too much thinking, though. Too much. Too much. I could be wrong there. You've caught me off guard, but we're moving on. All right, let's take a look at our next play scenario. With 3/10 of a second left in the second period, A1 is at the line for one free throw. A1's try misses, and A2 legally taps the ball towards the basket and is fouled by B3. The ball had left A2's hand, and the foul occurred before the horn. The tap is unsuccessful. The officials rule that A2 is awarded 2 free throws with the lane cleared, and the period ends after A2's free throw attempts. Were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? So 3/10 of a second on the clock. Players at the line for a free throw. They release the free throw. On the rebound, teammate bats the ball towards the goal and is fouled before the horn. Time expires. The officials rule this player is awarded 2 free throws with the lane cleared. Is this the correct ruling on this play? Right? We know that with 3/10 of a second or less, a player may not catch the ball and release a try by rule. But in this instance, the player tapped the ball. So this attempt is a legal attempt for a goal. If the ball goes in the basket, we would score the goal. If the player is fouled during the tapping action, they shall be awarded 2 free throws in this instance, right? This is also an instance in high school where the timer has no ability to properly stop the clock in this instance. By case play and by rule, we would, with the lane cleared, attempt these 2 free throws. And since, even though time has expired in the period, this activity is part of this period, and upon the completion of the free throws, the period would have ended, right? So in this instance where the officials approached and adjudicated the play and administered the play in this fashion, were the officials correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. Each element executed by the officials is correct by rule. Now, some officiating crews are going to say, well, I'm going to use some logic here. I know that the foul occurred before the horn, and the clock should have stopped when that happened, so we are going to put time back on the clock without definitive knowledge, but I know that some time must be put back on. It was at 0.3, and now it's at 0, so I'm going to put either 0.2 or 0.1 because they feel they're compelled. We must have time. We must have players on the lane. Case play would suggest otherwise, that we can have a scenario where there's zeros on the clock. This player will attempt these free throws, and that would be the correct adjudication by rule for National Federation of High School Basketball rules. A phrase rarely uttered. Must be definitive knowledge by rule. Awesome. I'm going to do that. All right, we've got a rhythm going. Let's look at our next play scenario. After a scored goal, Team A has a throw-in along the end line. A1's long throw-in pass is caught by teammate A2 near the division line, but A2 has a foot out of bounds when they contact the ball. The officials rule an out-of-bounds violation on Team A and award a throw-in to Team B for a sideline throw-in. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? This is a question that I often see there's confusion about, a misunderstanding about. A throw-in pass that's thrown to and is contacted by a player who is out of bounds. Is this a failure to throw the ball directly onto the court and a throw-in violation as a result? Or is this an out-of-bounds violation at the spot where the player contacted the ball? Right? This is simple and straightforward. This is an out-of-bounds violation by rule. Right? The resulting throw-in, it is not a throw-in violation to pass the ball and have it contacted by somebody who is out of bounds near the division line in this instance. So in this instance where the officials did rule an out-of-bounds violation as opposed to a throw-in violation, were the officials correct, yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. This is an out-of-bounds violation by rule, and the resulting throw-in would be at the spot of the out-of-bounds violation. Rolling. This crew is amping up for the playoffs. Ah, excellent. I like the historical references, right? Because sometimes it's like, why is there this perception, right? Because it used to be something different. And that carries forward, you know, both in the minds of those officials who used to officiate it in a certain fashion, but also maybe the people that they trained or are training, etc. And so misunderstandings can linger. Blake Turner jumps in. Excellent. Good to see you, Blake. A2 did cause the ball to go out of bounds. Now, had this ball gone out of bounds untouched and then was touched by A2, then we would have a throw-in violation because it failed to be touched on the court. Wow. Coaches? Nuts? All right, I'm going to do that. After Team A had previously been given a warning for delay for breaking the throw-in plane during a Team B throw-in in the first half, A1 reaches through the boundary on a Team B throw-in during the second half. The officials rule a team technical foul on Team A, 2 free throws, and a throw-in at the division line. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Simple, straightforward play, easy to adjudicate. A team warning for delay, any team warning for delay, failure to have the court ready after a 30-second timeout, delaying, preventing the ball from becoming live, etc. Any delay of game warning prior to this, and now we have a player who does something that would in itself rise to the level of a delay of game warning. If a previous delay of game warning had been issued, then this would now be a technical foul. It is a team technical foul by rule. It's not on the player. Even if the player had done the same action in the first half, and now they've done it a second time, it's not on the player. It's a team warning for delay, and then a subsequent action that would rise to the level of a team warning for delay. And on that second event, it would trigger a team technical foul by rule, 2 free throws to the opponent, 1 foul added towards bonus, division line throw in opposite the table, and there we go. I'm having fun today. Yeah, I saw that, Ian. Quit doing basketball after 9 years. That's a decision that officials make. All right, going to focus on 2 other sports that you do, right? I know I used to do 3 or 4 sports, and now I only do basketball, right? Felt the most comfortable doing that, most enjoyment out of doing that, etc. But never say never, right? It doesn't mean you can't officiate sparingly or in the future. Never say never. There's no scorekeeping in officiating. Can you imagine an auxiliary scoreboard? Call correct, call incorrect. Adjudicated properly, not adjudicated properly. Oh my gosh. M. Ensign, does this also count as an indirect on the head coach? No, it does not. What does count as an indirect on a head coach? Bench personnel, the behavior of bench personnel. Exclusively. Actions of the bench personnel, we'll have a play coming up a little later. Actions of the bench personnel are the responsibility of the head coach. If they have something actions that rise to the level of a technical foul, the coach bears responsibility for that indirectly. And they receive an indirect technical foul, which is not in and of itself a technical foul. It is just a designation that they have had behavior from bench personnel who they are responsible for, right? Really important to understand that. So when we have technical fouls in the game, we have an administrative technical foul, there was some problem with the book. We have a team technical foul, a team called an excess timeout. We have a substitute technical, player runs onto the court without being beckoned. All of these things. We have technical fouls that come into the game. And sometimes with some officials, there's doubt. Wait a minute, is this also an indirect on the head coach? If we just understand that indirects are related to bench personnel, the behavior of bench personnel rising to the level of a technical foul, that individual receiving a technical foul while being the responsibility of the head coach, or those multiple players or team members or bench personnel communally receiving a technical foul for some behavior while they are the responsibility of the head coach, then the coach receives an indirect technical foul. So that is the story on indirect technical fouls. Good question. Appreciate you asking that. Correct, Blake. And comfort officiating, right? So I remember when I started doing volleyball, and I have this sort of maybe even a less than everybody knows understanding of the rules, and you come in and you realize, you see that little girl over there, that 13-year-old girl, she knows the rules of this sport better than I do. That is not a comfortable position to be in, where. So comfort while you're officiating is obviously really important. So I can appreciate that. Okay, that's fantastic. So M. Ensign says, had this situation the other night. Partner and I disagreed about the indirect on the head coach. I am a rookie and I deferred. Good to know I was right. That is a great scenario, and it's one that you're going to confront over and over again as you are newer and you start coming into games and you were working with partners, more veteran partners, and they will say, no, this is the correct ruling, and you are in a position where, well, wait a minute, I know what the correct ruling in this instance is and what's going to happen next year. And at some point, you're going to gain the confidence that I'm not going to defer, right? I am going to step up and say, game crew, here's what the correct ruling is, and you're going to fight for that ruling, right? But I don't have the confidence. This guy, come on, man, he's forgotten more about the rules than I know. Am I sure? Right? right? We're going to go through that process, but at some point you're going to say, no, I am sure. I am sure. Partner, here's the situation. Indirects only for the behavior of bench personnel, in this instance by rule. I was just looking at it in the rules book the other night, right? We can always, as a new official who's in the rules book, we can sort of use that to help when our more veteran partner says, no, we're going to go down this path. This is the correct ruling. But that's a threshold that you will cross as a younger official, is the ability to say, no, you know what? I know I'm right, and we're going to fight for that. And now maybe your more veteran partner says, listen, young buck, your job is not to interject here. I'm going to say, in matters where a question arises, the referee has the ultimate answer. I'm going to say we're going to do it this way, and you are going to accept that, right? And that may happen if you have an official who's going to take that approach, but that's a great one to you can still join the stream, Ian. Hmm. And why can't this? That's not taking. All right, we're moving on. All right, a great team tactical play. Let's move on to our next play scenario. I'll tell you what. Let's move on to our next play scenario. A1 has the ball for a sideline throw-in in the back court. A1's throw-in pass is deflected by B1, and the ball actually becomes lodged between the rim and the backboard of Team B's basket. The officials rule a throw-in violation on Team A. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? Well, on a throw-in, you cannot, if the ball enters the basket or becomes lodged between the basket and the backboard, that is a throw-in violation. So it would appear that our officiating team made the correct ruling on this play. But wait a minute. That's during a throw-in. When does the throw-in end? When it's legally touched, in bounds, the throw-in has ended by rule. So remembering one of the attributes of the restarts in the game of basketball, there's 3 of them: jump ball, free throw, throw-in. The ball is dead. We're making the ball live. During these restarts, there's a special set of rules and restrictions that only apply once the restart has started and until the restart ends. So we have throw-in restrictions and throw-in violations that can occur, but they can only occur during the throw-in. And in this instance, the touch by the defense ended the throw-in. The resulting lodging of the ball in this instance would result in a held ball situation. So in this situation where the officials ruled a throw-in violation, were our officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. Good morning from Humble, Texas, Gary Mouton. Excellent. Y4 Steve asks, on a designated spot throw-in, can multiple teammates be out of bounds and pass along the end line, or is it only legal during a non-designated spot throw-in? Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what, it reminds me that Penny Davis does videos for NCAA women. They're on the YouTube channel. and she just did one on throw-in situations, and it is astonishing. And they had a play that was similar to this. So there was a non-designated spot throw-in, ball's deflected out of bounds. We resume with the throw-in on the designated spot, but the team gets confused. A teammate steps out of bounds, pass is made. They thought, oh, we were still running the end line, and it was incorrect. But what was astonishing in looking at the play scenarios that Penny posted is NCAA women's rules about throw-ins and those out-of-bounds situations almost uniquely different than high school at every step of the way, and the way that the rules are written, etc. So it's one of those challenges. If you are an NCAA women's official and you also do high school, that's a super important part of the rules to focus on. It was pretty astonishing. So it's only legal during a non-designated spot throw-in. During a designated spot throw-in, restrictions are much more stringent, so we say. And only one member of the team may be out of bounds. They must be on the spot. They must not leave the spot. They must release the throw-in within 5 seconds. They must pass it directly onto the court. A lot of restrictions, but not legal as you've described it in that instance. Cocoa Puffs in the house. Deflection cancels it out. It ends the throw-in. Ouch! Ouch! The zooch. Harsh. Is it, Billy? So Billy's saying that the ball is lodged, a player jumps up to dislodge it before the official blows their whistle. I would refer to the rules fundamental that says the official's whistle does not cause the ball to become dead. The ball is already dead in that instance. Cocoa Puffs, if a player is removed from a game due to blood on their uniform, can they switch jerseys with a teammate who doesn't get playing time without penalty? You know, something I have not covered is blood situations. And it's important to know them, especially in a situation as we approach the playoffs, right? And teams are, desperate for a victory, etc., and maybe desperate to get their player into the game, etc. Just remember, NFHS, all about participation, and don't want to prevent players from playing when they could play. So in this instance, player is bleeding. Either they are bleeding or somebody else was bleeding, causing them to have blood on their uniform. They are directed to leave the game. They must leave the game. A coach can request a timeout, remedy the situation during the timeout, and they can resume play at the end of the timeout. That's possible. But if they have blood on the jersey, that situation must be repaired. If they are going to, maybe the team has a substitute jersey that they keep. They call it a blood jersey just in case. It's extra large so that it fits everybody, etc. They've got it in the bag. Good teams, well-prepared teams have these available, right? That player can now wear that uniform. But we cannot remove the jersey in the visual confines. We're going to have to go outside behind the stands, etc., etc. Player can make that replacement. They come back. They must inform. We must inform the book. We must inform the opponent. This player is now playing with number 44. They used to be 32. That is legal, right? That's really straightforward. Now, let's say they don't have that replacement jersey. Coach looks down the bench. Hey, Johnny, you are giving up that jersey, right? Johnny's not going to play anyway, etc. We can take the jersey from a teammate. Yes, we can wear that jersey, etc. You can think about the management of this situation. Okay, now both of these team members are going to have to leave. When Johnny comes back and he's given up his jersey, what's he going to be wearing on the bench? What's the spirit and intent of the rule there? Player can't remove their jersey on the bench, but they can be on the bench without a jersey. Yep. So we're going to have management there. But yes, to answer your question in a very long-winded fashion, if a player is removed due to blood on their jersey, they can legally use a jersey from a teammate. And then we could have another debate at the end about, okay, now the game has turned into a blowout and the coach wants Johnny to play. How are we going to get Johnny in the game? Remembering, of course, that NFHS is a participation sport. We don't want to prevent somebody from participating in that situation simply because they've given up their jersey. Find a solution there. Yes. Well, I was going to do it at Halloween, right? I was going to do have some Dracula. Didn't happen. Need that. There was a little mini master class there. Excellent. All right. Moving on. Next play scenario. After A1 begins the shooting motion on their final free throw, B1 in the first marked lane space extends an arm and displaces A2. The free throw is successful. The officials rule a foul on B1. Since the foul was before the release, they disallow the goal and award a substitute throw with the lane cleared. Play resumes with an end-line throw-in for Team B. Were the officials correct? Yes or no, right? Play occurs, free thrower has begun their pre-shot routine. They complete it. They begin their throwing motion. Opponent of the thrower extends an arm and displaces a teammate of the thrower, and a foul is ruled, but the foul is ruled to have occurred before the release of the free throw, and so the officials disallow the goal and award an end-line throw-in for Team B, after first awarding a substitute throw. Right? So in this instance, what our officials did is they say, okay, we're going to have a foul. We're going to award a substitute free throw, right? And then we're going to penalize the foul. So what we would do is clear the lane, award the substitute free throw, and then resume with the resulting throw-in. That would be how they handled it in this instance. But is that the correct adjudication on this play, right? Something to remember, that continuous motion applies when any defensive player commits a foul, and it does apply during a free throw attempt. This player had begun their habitual throwing motion when there was a foul by the defense. That foul by the defense does not cause the ball to become dead, and our thrower is allowed to complete their habitual movement, and the result of that movement will count, right? So the ball did not become dead in this instance until the completion of the free throw. We should have scored the goal and then penalized the foul. So in this instance where the officials did not do that, were our officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. We should have scored the goal, then administered the penalty for the foul. Continuous motion. Did Sesame Street ever do a song about continuous motion? It should have. Continuous motion. Onward we move. Let's look at our next play scenario. Before the ball is released on a free throw attempt by A1, B1 in a marked lane space extends their arm over the area between the lane spaces and contacts A2 in the second lane space. The try is unsuccessful. The officials rule a delayed violation on B1 and award a substitute free throw. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? So in this instance, the official says, wait, this player is not allowed outside of their marked lane space with their arms. We see players in marked lane spaces engage with an opponent, put a hand on an opponent, right, in anticipation of potentially boxing that opponent out for the resulting rebound on a play. When this player made contact, the contact that did not rise to the level of a foul, but simply extended outside of the 3-foot marked lane space, have they committed a violation as the officials ruled in this instance? Players are allowed, not their feet must remain within the marked lane space, but their body is not, there is no restriction against their body, right? They can lean their upper torso outside. They can extend an arm in anticipation of contact with an opponent. They can make contact with that opponent. They may not make illegal contact with that opponent, as in our previous play where the player extended an arm and displaced the opponent, right, before the free throw was released. That's illegal contact, and that's penalized. If the contact does not rise to the level of a foul, it is legal by rule. So in this instance where the officials ruled a delayed violation for that activity, were our officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. This was a legal play by rule. Possibility of distraction. Are we on the continuous motion play where the ball went in, or on the subsequent? John has a question. I'll tell you what, John, I'm going to save that for the end of the show because I want to keep the pace going. But I have marked that. I'm going to come back to it. I'm laughing just thinking about it. Laughing just thinking about it. Oh, CM play. Right. A disconcertion. Would that be a delayed lane violation? No. They ruled a delayed lane violation. We could have disconcertion on the play. Yes, but if we think about it, what we're talking about here is pedestrian action of, this is not a waving the hand scenario. This is just simply reaching out for an opponent. And of course, that opponent could reach back and they do the same thing. Wow. All right, 4 to go. 4 to go. All right, next play. Here we go. After Team A scores in the last 10 seconds of the second half, and before the ball is at the disposal of Team B for a throw-in, A1 grabs B2 in an effort to have a foul ruled and save time. The officials rule an intentional foul on A1, and B2 is awarded 2 free throws. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? So we've got desperation. Ball goes in the basket. The clock is running down. Player reaches out and intentionally fouls an opponent. The officials rule an intentional foul and award the offended player 2 free throws. Were the officials correct in this instance? Yes or no? Right? So important in this whole scenario is, what is the status of the ball when the foul occurs? Right? Understanding status of the ball, live ball, dead ball, backcourt, front court, inbounds, out of bounds, etc., is critical to adjudicating plays properly. In this instance, the ball was dead. The free throw had not yet begun. The ball had not yet been made live. So this is a dead ball contact foul. In this instance, it is intentional, but it is an intentional technical foul by rule for a foul during dead ball. The adjudication of the play, the administration of the play, instead of the offended player in this instance attempting 2 free throws, any teammate, any team member, or any player rather, or eligible substitute would attempt the free throws. And as opposed to an intentional foul being resuming at the point of interruption, or resuming at a spot nearest the foul, we would resume with a division line throw in opposite the table. So when the officials in this instance ruled an intentional foul for dead ball contact, were the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. Huh. Huh. Thomas, that's a good question. That's a good question. Technical foul, technical foul. All right, Blake, I will mark that. Thomas, when referring to the previous question, questions are coming in the chat a little sluggish today. I don't know if it's me or if it's YouTube or what. Thomas says, if we have 2 players in Mark Lane space who are hand fighting back and forth even before the bounce the ball to the thrower, I would equate, right, and we get that situation, and I would equate that to similar to a beginning before a throw-in. We've got 2 players who are engaged prior to a throw-in, right? You know, we may interject and say, hey, save that for when the ball is live, or the ball is not yet live, right? So we've got a sort of a management situation there about how are we going to get these players. Hey, you guys could take, have at it once, and I'll judge illegality, but have at it once the ball is live. Hey, wait for it to be live would be something you could say. We could say, knock it off. They don't know. Knock it off. But that's a good one. Yeah, it's subtle, Rick. When I first started reading the question, I was thinking, wait a minute, that is correct, right? Right. Dead ball. Right. So that's also our situation, right? So M. Ensign, right? Let's say our more veteran official says, hey, that's an intentional foul. This player is going to shoot 2. And our young official who was just in the rules book, M. Ensign, says, hey, partner, that's dead ball contact, intentional foul by rule. And that's the other thing, M. Ensign, is in this situation where we've got a veteran partner who says, no, this is what we have. And you say, no, by rule, we have something different. I'm going to fight for that, right? The way we do that, simple declarative sentences, right? Statements. That's dead ball contact, partner, intentional foul, or a technical foul by rule, right? That's simple, succinct, and it can, that can like give the calling official a little. And what's the reaction we expect, right? You are right, great call, technical foul by rule, we're moving forward, etc. But simple declarative statements, if we can make those, as opposed to, hey, wait a minute, I think we might be, a lot of language without clarity. If we can make a simple declarative sentences, we are better off, and it's easy for the receiving official to take that information, and we can get plays right. We can, right? The ball's dead, right? Knock it off. Knock off that. Once the ball is live, then we have something different. All right, 3 to go. Wait, am I in the right place? Yeah. Next play. A1 is fouled in the act of shooting by B1. A1's try or tap is successful to make the score, with Team A leading 62-58. When the foul occurs, the clock is stopped with zeros showing, but no end of quarter signal, horn, or light has indicated. The officials rule that since the result of the free throws will not affect the game, they will not be attempted, and the game is over. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Right? We know that if the free throws at the end of the game, if the free throws will not affect the outcome of the game, we will not attempt those free throws. Right? That we know. But when does the game end by rule? The game ends by rule when the light sounds, signals, or the horn sounds. Having zeros on the clock does not necessarily mean that the game has ended. We need the signal, either the light or the horn, that signals the end of the game. So in some instances, if you have a clock that does not display tenths, when it gets to 1 second and begins counting down from 1 second to 0, the clock goes to zeros. So we can have a situation where we have time left on the clock and the scoreboard shows zeros. So the horn or the light is going to indicate the end. So in this instance, we had not reached the end of time, even though the clock displayed zeros. Something we could be aware of if it's a critical moment in the game and we have zeros up there and the horn hasn't sounded is we can go to the scorer and say, what do you show on your display? Their display may say, oh, I have 0.8. I have 0.2. Why would we need to know that, right? In this instance, we wouldn't. But if it's a situation at the end of the game where we are 0.3 or less, that would be a key piece of information that we would need. So in this instance where the officials failed to award merited free throw, were the officials correct? Yes or no? No. No, they were not. The game had not ended. The free throw was merited. We should have attempted those free throws. So the officials were not correct in this instance. It ain't over until, did I say that? I like that. I like that a lot. It could be a catchphrase. Until the light sounds. Until the light sounds. Okay. Yes. I'm going to do that. Our penultimate question is upon us. Let's look at our next to last play scenario. A1 scores a goal to give Team A a 2-point lead with just a few seconds remaining. Team members A11, A12, A13, and A14, believing the game to be over, run onto the court to congratulate A1 despite there being 3 seconds remaining. The officials assess bench technical fouls on all 4 team members and 4 indirect fouls to the head coach. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? This is a situation where multiple team members, bench personnel, have done something that rises to the level of a technical foul. We know that if one of the team members had taken this action, they would receive a technical foul. The coach would receive an indirect technical foul. But in this instance, 4 team members, do they each receive a technical foul and the coach an indirect for each of their actions? Or is this treated under National Federation of High School Basketball rules as a multiple person event and only 1 technical foul? Now, obviously, at the end of the game, this could have a dramatic impact on the game, right? And we want to adjudicate these plays properly. By rule, in this instance, the action by the team members on the bench is considered one technical foul. This would be one bench technical foul, the penalty for which would be 2 free throws only, the ball to the opponent at the division line opposite the table. And since it was the behavior of bench personnel, which was assessed a technical foul, an indirect technical foul on the head coach as well, and they would lose the privilege to stand and coach their team. But it's important to know in this instance, when multiple players take this action, by rule, it is to be considered only as one technical foul. So in this instance, where the officials ruled 4 technical fouls, 4 indirects, right? 8 free throws, 4 indirects, ejection of the head coach. Were the officials correct? No. No, they were not. There should be 1 technical foul, 1 indirect, and the game would proceed with a division line throw in opposite the table. Can you imagine the officials, this play? What do you think the chances of something like this occurring in a playoff game this year, somewhere in the country? You know, it's possible. It's not good. It's not good. That invitation to the playoffs that Zuch offered this crew has been rescinded, torn up, tossed. Hey, can I see that piece of paper I gave you? Give me that. Remember back in the day, there was a Western called Branded, where the beginning credits, they show the guy, he had like epaulets, right? And he was being thrown out of the army, and they rip the epaulets off, and then they break his sword over the knee. Yeah, that was a classic. Ain't no Gunsmoke. I need Billy to refresh my memory on that one. But it was called Branded. And so then the guy like goes throughout the West with the stigma of his dishonorable discharge, doing right across the West. Rick Watts. 1 technical foul. Right. In a fight situation, we would have something different. Absolutely. All right. It's everybody's favorite time. Here we are. Wait, let me do this. And here we are with our final rules question. Let's take a look. With 0.3 seconds left in a tie game, each team is in the bonus. Team A has an end-line throw-in under their basket. A1 throws the ball to A5 on the near block, who catches the ball and quickly shoots. A5 is fouled by B3 just prior to the horn, and the ball goes in. The officials rule no goal and a 1-and-1 bonus. A5's free throw attempts will determine if the game is over or if an overtime period is necessary. Were the officials correct? Yes or no? Wow. End of game scenario. Can you imagine this scenario in your game? It's 0.3 or less. Both teams in the bonus. End line throw in under the basket. Player catches the ball, is fouled, the horn sounds, and the try is released, right? This is a super unique scenario that is really in the far fringes of the rule, but obviously one that's critical to understand in an end-of-game setting. We know that a player cannot catch with 0.3 or less, catch the ball and release a try. So there is no try on this play. But we also know in this instance, the catching of the ball does not cause the ball to become time to expire or the ball to become dead. And the resulting foul is a foul that needs to be penalized by rule. The foul occurred before the horn. So in this super unique scenario, the correct adjudication of the play is to assess award rather bonus free throws. In this instance, no time on the clock, bonus free throws, lane cleared, and the result of those free throws will determine the outcome of the game. So in this instance where the officials ruled just that, were our officials correct? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, they were. Impressive. Impressive job. That is tough. Was Chuck Connors the one? Excellent. Hey, hold on just a second. Let me go get something. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're taking care of business. Stuff happens. John, I still owe you an answer to that question. All right, cool. Correct, Rick. We cannot catch and shoot. But I erroneously believed that the catching ended the period, that the simple act of the catching caused time to expire, but that is not the case. This case play reveals that. A tough one, a tough one. Now, John Skinner had a question, and I saved it. Repeated throw-in violations is a player technical. Could you touch on this? Right? So there's confusion. You can have a player technical for 10-4-5. Maybe, let's see. Hey, hold on. Let's see what Blake says. Held ball, arrow goes to B, immediately followed by attack on A1, 2 free throws for the thrower and the ball at the division line. Does the arrow change after a subsequent throw-in by B? Right? So with all alternating possession throw-ins, Blake, the question is, okay, this throw-in that is occurring on the court, we know that it was a held ball situation and that the result of that will be an alternating possession throw-in. But we never get to that event. Ultimately, we have a division line throw-in opposite the table. Is that an alternating possession throw-in? No, that is something different. Just like when we have a held ball situation, throw-in is released, it's kicked by a defender. The resulting throw-in, is that an alternating possession throw-in? No, that's a throw-in related to the violation. Also, understanding when alternating possession throw-ins end by rule is important. If we had a foul that occurs during an alternating possession throw-in, we have not completed that throw-in, the alternating possession arrow would not change. But understanding this, okay, this throw-in right now that's occurring on the court, is this an alternating possession throw-in? We know that one was merited, but we never got there. We're never doing it. It's never been completed, etc. The arrow wouldn't change. So to answer your question, does the arrow change after the subsequent throw-in? No, because it is not an alternating possession throw-in. That would be the answer. So John, related to your question, I don't have the rule in front of me. Wait a minute. If I go to all comments, maybe somebody's thrown it in. Thanks, Blake. It is possible to have a player technical for multiple, something related to throw-ins. Okay. I'm at a loss. Trevor jumping in. Trevor, I think there was a question from the last show where I never got around to it. Now I don't even remember. Danny's got a question. Team A is down by 1 with 2 seconds remaining. They inbound the ball. A1 catches it, gathers, and shoots a successful three-pointer. You look up, and the clock never started. Oy, oy, oy. Oy, oy, oy. Scored the goal, said the game was over. Did I do that right? Boy, oh boy, that is a tough scenario. Because when it comes to clock-related changes, we need definitive knowledge. Do we have definitive knowledge that even the time elapsed was less than 2 seconds? And do we know that the goal after the goal is scored, that 2 seconds have elapsed as well? Yeah, it's a tough scenario. Got to use your best judgment, and you can get information as a crew. What it would prompt me to do is say, okay, how can I, at the end of my game, make sure that something like this doesn't happen? Sometimes it's just like they were pressing the button didn't work, right? Everybody was doing their job properly there was a technical malfunction that prevented the clock from stopping, from starting rather. But in this situation, right, have we made eye contact with our timer? Say, watch my chop, right? Make sure that they're engaged, they're not distracted by the game going on, etc. Pre-gaming with partners, let's have an opinion, all last-second shots. Let's make sure clocks start and stop properly, right? If the clock failed to start in this instance and the player, dribbled once, would we stop play so that we could not get into this situation? Lots of variables there. Mm-hmm. I think everybody else is doing a better job of answering your question than I am. I apologize. Trevor has A1 has the ball tipped by B1 in the backcourt. A1 dives, torso only, crosses the division line, and he passes the ball to Team A in the backcourt. Backcourt violation? Okay. High school rules. A1 has the ball tipped by B1 into the backcourt. Did the ball bounce in the backcourt? If so, the ball has gained backcourt status. Team B was the last to touch in the front court, as the way you've described it. So we are not at risk for a backcourt violation. A1 dives, torso only, crosses the division line, and he passes the ball. Is his torso on the floor, or is he in the air? Those would be the questions. Oh, thank you, Zooch. You bailed me out. You bailed me out big time. I'm glad you got your question answered. So, Trevor, there's a lot of questions in my mind about the play. To have a backcourt violation, we have to have team control on the court. The ball has to gain front court status. The offensive team must be the last to touch in the front court and the first to touch in the backcourt. Okay, the ball was tipped while in the backcourt. So the touching by the diving player is the first touch. Okay. 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 All right. So our player who was in the front court dives for the ball and contacts the ball. What is that player's status when they contact the ball? If they are on the court and part of their body is contacting the backcourt, then by rule they have backcourt status. They have 98% of their body could be in the front court. If their foot is touching the division line, which is by rule part of the backcourt, then they have backcourt status, right? In this instance, if that diving player was straddling the line, their legs are in the front court, any part of their body is contacting the backcourt, they would have backcourt status by rule. So it sounds like that in this instance, front court status was never achieved on the play from your description. Filling the role of Mannix today will be Zucci. So I think we've got that one, Trevor, if I'm understanding you correctly. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Tremendous. Hey, thank you. I apologize for not getting to that earlier. Last episode. Okay. All right. Hey, thanks for joining us today. Wait, no. Let me do this. Let me do this. Do this. Let me do this. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining us today for the Basketball Rules Expert. If you're a basketball official and this is the video content that you find valuable, now would be a great time to do all the things. Going back. Going back. Thanks for joining us today for the Basketball Rules Expert. If you are a basketball official and this is the video content that you find valuable, make sure you do all the things. Hit like the video. It helps us get the video in front of more basketball officials so we can all get better together. And hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We live stream every Wednesday and Friday. Join us for the live stream and we can all get better together. Fantastic. Allow me to thank our tremendous show supporters: Paul Figlia, Scott Calvin, Kevin Cochran, JJ Jemison, and Ted Hayder. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? You can always buy us a coffee. There will be a link in the show notes below and a link up above. Tremendous. Come on, man. Why does that not work? Give me a second. Ay, ay, ay. I don't understand why that fails. Don't understand it at all. I don't know. Hey, we've got additional video content available for you here. I've made this choice. YouTube made this choice. You make your choice. And we'll see you in the very next video. Take care, everybody. I do not understand why that doesn't work. I don't understand. Ay, ay, ay. Come on, man. Hmm. Oh, well. So it goes. So it goes. Thanks for joining, Gary. Thank you, Billy. Good to see you in the chat. You have summed up my efforts as a live streamer. Ay, ay, ay. Huh. Okay. I can do that afterward. Oh, well. Huh. We try this. Why don't we try this? And if I go, no, it doesn't work. Oh, well. End with a whimper, not with a bang. I am going to wrap it up. I hope everybody has tremendous success in their upcoming playoff assignments, if they are so fortunate to have them. Keep the game safe and fair. Obviously, we want to bring all of our skills to bear in those settings. Do right by the game, and we can all make high school basketball a better place. All right, with that, I am going to bid everybody adieu. Hope you make it a great one. And we will see you next time. See you on Friday, everybody. Take care.